I stood in my daughter Brianna's doorway on Thanksgiving evening, 2023, watching 23 people I thought I knew go silent the moment I walked in. My ex-wife's new husband stopped mid-sentence. My son Tyler actually dropped his wine glass. And Brianna, my own daughter, the one who'd called me 6 times that morning begging me not to come, she just closed her eyes, like she'd been dreading this exact moment for months. "Dad," she whispered, "I asked you not to come." I smiled. The same calm smile I'd learned working 32 years on construction sites in Chicago. Never show weakness, never back down. It's Thanksgiving, sweetheart. I've never missed a family Thanksgiving in my life. What I didn't know, what none of them thought I'd ever figure out, was that this dinner wasn't just about family. It was an intervention, and the truth they were hiding would destroy everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my late wife, and the last 30 years of my life. 92% of you watching right now haven't subscribed. 78% who don't subscribe never see part 2. Don't be that person. Let me take you back so you understand how we got here. My name is Robert James Crawford. I'm 57 years old. For 3 decades, I worked as a union carpenter in Chicago. Started as an apprentice at 23, became a foreman by 35. Spent most of my career building high-rises downtown, working 60-hour weeks when the jobs demanded it. I married my wife, Catherine Crawford, in June of 1988. We had 2 children, Tyler in 1990, Brianna in 1994. We lived in a 3-bedroom bungalow in Bridgeport with a small yard and a driveway that barely fit 1 car. On paper, we were ordinary. Catherine was a school librarian at Webster Elementary. Loved her job. Loved books. Every night, she'd come home with stories about kids discovering reading for the first time. She died 5 years ago, November 2018. Car accident on the Kennedy Expressway during rush hour. Black ice. She was 50 years old. The school held a memorial service. 300 people showed up. Teachers, students, parents. Our kids spoke. I couldn't. Everyone cried. I thought I knew my wife. I was wrong. After Catherine died, things changed slowly. Not all at once. Just small things. Tyler stopped calling as often. We used to grab breakfast every Saturday morning at Lou Mitchell's on Jackson. Then it became every other week. Then, once a month, when I'd ask him about work or his wife Rachel, he'd give me short answers. "Work's fine, Dad. Rachel's good. We're busy." Brianna was the same. We'd always been close. She used to send me photos of random things during her day. A weird cloud. A dog wearing a sweater. Little things that made her think of me. After Catherine died, the photos stopped. When I asked her about it, she said, "I'm just giving you space to grieve, Dad." But it didn't feel like space. It felt like distance. At first, I thought they were just processing their own grief. Catherine had been a great mother. Patient. Warm. The kind of mom who packed lunches with handwritten notes even when the kids were in high school. I told myself they needed time. But then, I started noticing other things. Before I continue, let me ask you something. What time is it where you're watching this? Drop it in the comments. In March of 2022, my father had a health scare. Stroke. He's 83, lives in a veteran's home in Oak Park. I called Tyler and Brianna to let them know I'd be spending a few days with him. Tyler said, "That's good, Dad. He needs you." But when I got to my father's room, Brianna was already there. She looked surprised to see me. "Oh," she said, "I didn't know you were coming today." "I told you yesterday," I said. "Right, yeah, I thought you meant later in the week." My father, Thomas Crawford, sharp as ever despite the wheelchair, looked between us and said nothing. That's when I noticed the photo box on his lap. It was open to a stack of pictures I'd never seen before. One showed Catherine from sometime in the late 90s. She was standing outside a house I didn't recognize, smiling at whoever was taking the picture. "Where was this taken?" I asked. Brianna took the box. Fast. "Just old photos, Dad. Grandpa was showing me stuff from when Mom was younger." My father didn't say anything. I let it go, but I didn't forget. Every year since Catherine and I got married, we hosted Thanksgiving at our house in Bridgeport. It was tradition. 15, 20 people sometimes. Catherine would cook the turkey. I'd handle the folding tables and chairs. My father would bring his famous Polish sausage. Tyler and Brianna would invite their friends. It was the one day a year where everything felt right. After Catherine died, I kept hosting. 2019, 2020 on Zoom because of COVID. 2021, 2022. But in October of 2023, Brianna called me. Dad, I was thinking. Maybe this year I could host Thanksgiving. I was in my workshop, building a bookshelf for a neighbor. I remember I had wood glue drying on 3 different joints. Host? I said. Sweetheart, you live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Wicker Park. I know, she said. But I've been wanting to do it for a while. Start my own tradition, you know? Her voice sounded careful, like she was choosing every word. Well, I appreciate the thought, but the house has more room. Everyone expects. Dad, she interrupted. Please. Just this once. Let me do this. I paused. In 35 years of marriage, Catherine and I had hosted every single Thanksgiving. It was our thing. The one holiday we did together, start to finish. All right, I said. If it's important to you. It is. Then I'll bring the beer. There was a long silence on the other end. Actually, Dad, we're good on beer. Okay. We're good on everything. Just come. That's all. Something about her tone felt off, but I was working. I had projects. I told myself I was reading too much into it. I should have known better. You stayed till now, but you have not subscribed. Why? Tell me in the comments. What's stopping you? 1 click supports hours of work. Thanksgiving morning, 2023. I woke up at 6 a.m. in my house in Bridgeport. The same house where Catherine and I had raised our kids. The same house that felt too quiet now that I lived there alone. My phone was already ringing. It was Brianna. Dad, hi. Listen, I need to talk to you about today. Morning, sweetheart, I said. I was making coffee. The same coffee pot Catherine and I had gotten as a wedding gift in 1988. Dad, I'm serious. I need you to not come to dinner today. I stopped pouring. What? I know it sounds crazy, but I'm asking you please just this once. Stay home. Brianna, what are you talking about? You invited me. You insisted on hosting. I know I did. But things have changed, and I think it's better if you sit this one out. Her voice was shaking. I felt confusion first, then anger, the quiet kind that builds slow. Brianna Marie Crawford, I have not missed a Thanksgiving in 35 years. I'm not starting now. Dad, is this about your boyfriend? Are you embarrassed of your old man? No, God, no. This isn't about Derek. Then what is it about? Silence. Brianna? I can't explain it over the phone, she said quietly. Just. Please trust me. Don't come. I'll see you at 5, I said, and I hung up. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. Tyler. Dad, Brianna called me. She's really upset. She'll get over it, I said. I was getting dressed now. Clean jeans. Flannel shirt. The same kind of outfit I'd worn every Thanksgiving since 1988. Dad, I think you should listen to her. Tyler, this is ridiculous. It's Thanksgiving. We're family. I know, but maybe... Are you telling me not to come to my own daughter's dinner? He hesitated. No. I'm just saying. Maybe she has a good reason. Then she should tell me what it is. She can't. Why not? Another pause. Just trust her, Dad. Please. I hung up on him too. At noon, my sister Linda called from Milwaukee. Bobby, the kids called me. What's going on? Nothing's going on. Brianna's being dramatic. She sounded pretty serious. She's 29, Linda. Everything's serious at 29. Robert. My sister only used my full name when she was worried. I've known you your whole life. And I'm telling you, when your kids beg you not to do something, you should listen. Why is everyone acting like I'm the bad guy here? She invited me. I'm going. Okay, Linda said softly. But don't say I didn't warn you. Even my father called. Robert, Brianna came to see me this morning. Of course she did. She's trying to protect you. From what? My father was quiet for a long time. From the truth. What truth? The kind that changes everything. Dad, if you know something, just tell me. I can't. It's not my place. But son, maybe just this once. Listen to your daughter. I hung up. Still not subscribed? The people who are get notifications for every upload? You'll miss the next story. Then wonder why you can't find it. By 4 p.m., I'd gotten 14 calls total. Brianna called 3 more times. Tyler called twice. My sister called again. My father called again. Even Tyler's wife, Rachel, called. Which had never happened before. Everyone was telling me the same thing. Don't go. Stay home. Trust Brianna. But nobody would tell me why. And the more they pushed, the more determined I became. I've worked construction for 32 years. You don't last in that industry. By backing down when people tell you something's too hard, too dangerous, too risky, you push through. You finish the job. So at 4:45 p.m., I got in my truck, a 2015 Ford F-150 with 162,000 miles on it, and I drove to Wicker Park. I parked my truck on North Damon Avenue at 4:58 p.m. Brianna's apartment was on the 3rd floor of a brick walk-up, the kind of building that was built in the 1920s and still had the original radiators that clanged when the heat kicked on. I could see her windows from the street. The lights were on. I could make out shapes moving inside. People, family. My family. For a moment, I sat in the truck with the engine off, watching. Through the window, I saw Tyler. He was holding a wine glass, talking to someone I couldn't see. His wife, Rachel, was there too, wearing a green sweater I recognized from last Christmas. I saw my sister Linda. She'd driven down from Milwaukee after all. I saw my father in his wheelchair near the window, and I saw Brianna, moving between the kitchen and the living room, carrying plates, looking nervous. Everyone was there. Everyone except me. And for the first time all day, I felt something I hadn't expected. Doubt. What if they were right? What if I should have stayed home? But then I thought about 35 years of Thanksgiving dinners, 35 years of tradition, 35 years of family. I wasn't going to break that streak because my daughter had cold feet about introducing me to her boyfriend. I got out of the truck. The stairs creaked under my boots. 1st floor. 2nd floor. 3rd floor. I could hear voices now. Laughter. The sound of silverware on plates. Music playing softly in the background. Normal Thanksgiving sounds. I reached Brianna's door. Number 307. There was a wreath hanging on it. One of those fall wreaths with fake leaves and a wooden sign that said grateful. I raised my hand to knock, and that's when I heard Brianna's voice from inside. He's not coming. I told him not to come. He promised he'd think about it. Tyler's voice. Bri. You know, Dad. When has he ever listened? A pause. Then, a woman's voice I didn't recognize. Young. Nervous. Maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe I should just go. No. That was Brianna again. Firm. You deserve to be here. You deserve to meet everyone. If he shows up, we'll deal with it. I stood there with my hand still raised. Who was she talking about? Who deserved to be here? Still haven't subscribed? The people who did are already sharing theories in the comments. You're missing the conversation. I knocked. Everything went silent. The music stopped. The conversation stopped. Even the sound of silverware stopped. I heard footsteps approaching the door. It opened. Brianna stood there, and the look on her face, I'll never forget it. It wasn't anger. It wasn't frustration. It was grief. Like she'd already lost something and was watching it slip away in real time. Dad, she said quietly. You came. Of course I came. It's Thanksgiving. She didn't move. Didn't open the door wider. Just stood there, blocking the entrance. Behind her, I could see people frozen in place. Tyler with his wine glass halfway to his mouth. Rachel standing by the couch. My sister Linda with her hand over her mouth. And someone else, a young woman I'd never seen before. She was sitting on the couch near the window, early 20s, dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. She was wearing a blue cardigan and jeans, and she was staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Fear, maybe? Or recognition. "Who's that?" I asked, nodding toward her. Brianna closed her eyes. "Dad, please. Can we talk outside for a minute?" "No. I drove all the way here. I'm coming in." "Dad." I stepped past her. Not aggressive, not forceful, just forward. The way I'd been moving forward my whole life. And the moment I crossed that threshold, I felt the temperature in the room drop 20 degrees. Tyler set his wine glass down on the coffee table. "Hey, Dad." "Tyler." Rachel waved awkwardly from across the room. "Hi, Robert." "Rachel." My sister Linda stood up. "Bobby, maybe we should." "I'm fine, Linda." I looked around the room. 23 people. Most of them I recognized. Cousins. Friends. Brianna's boyfriend Derek standing near the kitchen looking like he wanted to disappear. But there were a few faces I didn't know. The young woman on the couch was one of them. There was also an older couple sitting near the window. Late 50s, maybe early 60s. The woman had the same dark hair as the girl on the couch. The man was wearing a flannel shirt similar to mine. "Well," I said, forcing a smile. "I guess introductions are in order." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Brianna closed the door behind me. I heard the lock click. "Dad," she said softly. "There's something I need to tell you." "Okay, but I need you to stay calm." "I'm always calm." "Dad," Brianna, "just tell me what's going on. Who are these people?" The young woman on the couch stood up. She was tall, maybe 5 to 8. She had Catherine's eyes. Catherine's exact eyes. The same hazel green color. The same shape. The same way they tilted slightly at the corners when she was nervous. "Mr. Crawford," she said. Her voice was shaking. "My name is Claire." I stared at her. "Claire," I repeated. "Yes, sir." "And you are?" She looked at Brianna, then at Tyler, then back at me. I'm your wife's daughter." The room went completely silent. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my brain couldn't process what she just said. My wife's daughter, Catherine's daughter. "Yes, sir. Catherine and I had 2 children. Tyler and Brianna." "I know, sir. So, unless you're about to tell me, my wife gave birth to triplets and nobody told me, I think there's been some kind of mistake." Claire's eyes filled with tears. The older woman, the one with the same dark hair, stood up and put her hand on Claire's shoulder. "There's no mistake," she said quietly. "I'm Linda Morrison. This is my husband, David. And Claire is our daughter, biologically." She paused. "But Catherine is her mother too." I looked at Brianna. "What is she talking about?" Brianna walked to the dining table and picked up a manila folder. She held it against her chest for a moment, like she was trying to decide whether to go through with this. Then she walked over and handed it to me. "What's this?" "Just look at it, Dad, please." I opened the folder. Inside were documents. Letters. Photographs. Bank statements. The first photograph showed Catherine. Younger. Maybe early 30s. She was standing in a hospital room, holding a newborn baby. She looked exhausted, happy, the way she'd looked when Tyler was born, when Brianna was born. But I'd never seen this photo before. "When was this taken?" I asked. "December of 2000, Claire said softly. I flipped to the next page. A birth certificate. Name: Claire Elizabeth Morrison. Mother: Catherine Ann Crawford. Father: unknown. Date of birth: December 14th, 2000. I stared at the name, Catherine Ann Crawford. My wife. "This doesn't make sense," I said. Catherine was with me in December of 2000. We were living in Bridgeport. Brianna was 6 years old. Tyler was 10. Catherine was working at Webster Elementary. She couldn't have. "She did," Linda Morrison said gently. "She gave birth to Claire and gave her to us. We adopted her 3 days later. The analytics show 74% of you are still here. Only 9% subscribed. You'll lose this thread. You won't find your way back. I flipped through more pages. Letters. Written in Catherine's handwriting. Dear Claire, today is your first birthday. I'm writing this because I need you to know that giving you to Linda and David wasn't about not wanting you. It was about wanting you to have the life you deserved. A life I couldn't give you. I stopped reading. My hands were shaking. Why? I asked. My voice came out hoarse. Why would Catherine give up a baby? Why wouldn't she tell me? Brianna sat down next to me. Because she wasn't yours, Dad. The words hit me like a hammer. What? Claire wasn't your daughter. Mom had an affair. She got pregnant. And she made a choice. I stood up. The folder fell from my hands. Papers scattered across the floor. No, that's not possible. Catherine wouldn't. Dad, sit down, please. Catherine loved me. We were happy. We had a good marriage. You did, Tyler said. He'd been quiet this whole time, but now he stepped forward. You did have a good marriage, Dad. But people make mistakes. Mistakes? I turned to look at him. An affair isn't a mistake, Tyler. A baby isn't a mistake. I didn't mean it like that. Then what did you mean? Brianna picked up the papers from the floor. Dad, Mom wrote letters, a lot of them, to Claire, to herself, to the man she had the affair with. Who? His name was Michael Torres. He was a teacher at Webster Elementary, social studies. He started the same year as Mom, back in 1992. I remembered him, vaguely. Tall guy, always wore ties, coached the debate team. They worked together for 8 years before anything happened, Brianna continued. And according to Mom's letters, it wasn't. It wasn't some big romantic thing. It was. She struggled to find the words. It was loneliness. Loneliness? I felt anger rising in my chest. Real anger. Not the quiet kind. I worked 60 hours a week to provide for this family. I came home every night. I was there. Physically, Tyler said quietly. I turned to him. What's that supposed to mean? Dad, you worked all the time. You were exhausted. You came home, ate dinner, watched TV, and went to bed. Every single day. For years. I was working. Someone had to pay the bills. I'm not saying you were wrong, Tyler said. I'm just saying, Mom was lonely. Brianna opened the folder to another letter. I love Robert. I need you to understand that. I love him for his strength, his dedication, his loyalty. But loving someone and feeling loved by someone aren't always the same thing. Robert provides. He protects. He's a good man. But when was the last time he asked me about my day? When was the last time he held my hand just because? When was the last time he looked at me and really saw me? Michael sees me. I couldn't breathe. When did this happen? I asked. The affair. It started in 1999, Brianna said. It lasted about 9 months. She got pregnant in March of 2000. She ended the affair immediately. And she called her college roommate, Linda Morrison, and asked for help. Linda stepped forward. Catherine and I were best friends in college. We lost touch after graduation, but when she called me in April of 2000 and told me she was pregnant, I knew what she was asking. David and I had been trying to have kids for 6 years. We'd gone through IVF 3 times. It wasn't working. She looked at Claire with so much love it was almost painful to watch. Catherine offered us a miracle, and we took it. I sat back down. My brain was trying to process 35 years of marriage in light of this new information. So, Catherine had a baby in December of 2000. And I never knew. She told you she was going to visit her mother in Florida for 2 weeks, Brianna said. Remember, Grandma Sullivan was sick. I did remember. Vaguely. Catherine had been gone for Thanksgiving that year. She'd flown to Tampa, came back tired and emotional. Said her mother was recovering, but it had been hard to see her so weak. I'd believed her. She gave birth in Milwaukee, Linda said, at St. Mary's Hospital. I was in the delivery room. David was in the waiting room. And 3 days later, we filed adoption papers. Claire became ours. And Catherine just went home? Went back to her life? Like nothing happened? No, Brianna said softly. Not like nothing happened. She wrote Claire letters every year on her birthday. She sent money to Linda and David through a separate account you didn't know about. She followed Claire's life from a distance. Tyler pulled out his phone and showed me a photograph. It was Claire at maybe 10 years old, playing soccer, smiling. Mom had hundreds of photos, he said. She kept them in a box in the attic, behind the Christmas decorations. I found them 5 months ago when I was helping clean out the house. You've known for 5 months? Yeah. And you didn't tell me? I wanted to, Dad. But Brianna said we should wait. That we should reach out to Claire first. Get to know her. Make sure she was okay with meeting you. I looked at Claire. She was standing near the window now, arms crossed, looking small and scared. How long have you known? I asked her. About Catherine? 6 months, she said. Linda and David told me on my 23rd birthday. They said I was old enough to know the truth. And what did you think? She smiled. Sad. I thought my birth mother must have been brave. To make the choice she did. To give me a life she couldn't give herself. People who subscribed are already commenting on what they'd do in this situation. You're just watching. You're not part of the conversation. Why? I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Chicago was getting dark. Streetlights were coming on. People were walking home from Thanksgiving dinners with their families. Normal people, living normal lives, without secrets. So, let me make sure I understand this, I said, still facing the window. Catherine had an affair, got pregnant, gave the baby to her college roommate, and then came home and pretended everything was fine for 18 more years. Dad, Brianna started. I'm not finished. I turned around. And then she died, without ever telling me, without ever giving me the chance to what? Forgive her? Be angry? Process this? She wanted to tell you, Linda said. She told me that every time we talked. She wanted to tell you. But she was afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid you'd leave. Afraid you'd hate her. Afraid it would destroy the family. So instead she let me live a lie. Tyler stepped forward. Dad, it wasn't a lie. She loved you. The marriage was real. Was it? I looked at him. Because right now I'm wondering what else she lied about. How many other secrets are there? How many other children did she have that I don't know about? That's not fair, Brianna said. Fair? I laughed. Hard. You want to talk about fair? I worked my whole life for this family. 60-hour weeks. Weekends. Overtime. I broke my back, literally broke 3 ribs falling off, scaffolding in 2004, to provide for you. For Tyler, for Catherine. And she repaid me by sleeping with another man and having his baby. The room went silent. Claire's eyes were full of tears now. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry I exist. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to be born. Her words hit me like a slap, because she was right. This wasn't her fault. None of this was her fault. No, I said quietly. No, you're right. This isn't about you. This is about Catherine. And me. And a marriage. I thought I understood. I sat back down and picked up the folder. There were more letters, more photographs, more evidence of a life Catherine had lived in secret. One letter was dated December 14th, 2015, Claire's 15th birthday. Dear Claire, you're 15 today. I can barely believe it. Linda sends me photos every few months, and every time I see you, I see pieces of myself. Your smile, your laugh, the way you tilt your head when you're thinking. I wonder if you think about me. I wonder if Linda and David have told you about me yet. I hope they have. I hope you know that giving you up was the hardest thing I ever did. But I also hope you know it was the right thing. Robert is a good man, a strong man. But he's not a forgiving man. If I had told him about the affair, about you, He would have left, and Tyler and Brianna would have grown up in a broken home. I chose them over you. I know how that sounds. I know how cruel it is. But I had to make a choice, and I made it. I'm sorry. I will always be sorry. I set the letter down. She was right, I said. Everyone looked at me. She was right. If she had told me in 2000, I would have left. I would have packed my things, filed for divorce, and never looked back. Brianna's face crumpled. Dad, I'm not proud of it. But it's true. I don't forgive easily. I never have. I looked at Tyler. Remember when you were 17 and you borrowed my truck without asking? Drove it to a party and dented the bumper? Yeah. I didn't speak to you for 3 weeks. Tyler nodded slowly. I looked at Brianna. Remember when you were 12? And you told Mom you were sleeping over at Jessica's house, but you actually went to that concert in the city? Yeah. I grounded you for 2 months. No phone, no friends, no TV. I remember. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. Rules matter. Honesty matters. And when people break my trust, I trailed off. I don't let it go. You're still here, still watching, still refusing to subscribe. What are you proving? That you're different? You're not. You're just stubborn. I flipped through more papers in the folder. Bank statements showing monthly transfers of $250 from an account I'd never seen before to Linda and David Morrison, starting in January of 2001, ending in November of 2018, the month Catherine died. She was sending you money, I said to Linda. Yes, for Claire's expenses. School supplies. Clothes. Activities. We never asked for it. But Catherine insisted. Where did she get the money? She had a second job, Tyler said. Tutoring. On weekends. Remember? She said she was helping kids prepare for college entrance exams. I did remember. Catherine had started tutoring in 2000. Told me she wanted something to do on Saturday mornings. Something meaningful. I'd thought it was nice. Thought it showed initiative. It had all been a lie. What happened to Michael Torres? I asked. The father. Brianna flipped to another section of the folder. He moved to Seattle in 2001. Got a job teaching at a private school. He's married now. 2 kids. Catherine stayed in touch with him through email for a few years, but they stopped talking around 2005. Does he know about Claire? Yes, Claire said quietly. Linda and David told me his name when they told me about Catherine. I reached out to him 6 months ago. We've talked a few times on the phone, and he's nice. He feels guilty. He said the affair was the biggest mistake of his life. He said he thinks about me sometimes. Wonders what kind of person I turned out to be. But he doesn't want a relationship. Claire shook her head. No. He has his own family. His wife doesn't know. And he wants to keep it that way. I nodded slowly. So Catherine carried this secret for 18 years. Alone. Not entirely alone, Linda said. She had me. We talked once a month. Sometimes more. She'd call me on Claire's birthday every year, and we'd talk for hours. Did she seem happy? Linda thought about it. In a way, she loved you, Robert. She really did. And she loved Tyler and Brianna. But there was always this sadness underneath, like she was carrying something heavy that she could never put down. I set the folder on the coffee table and looked at Brianna. When did you find out about all of this? 5 months ago. When Tyler found the box in the attic, and you decided not to tell me. We decided to reach out to Claire first, to meet her, to make sure she was okay with being part of this family before we told you. And tonight was supposed to be what? The big reveal? Brianna nodded. We thought, if we did it on Thanksgiving, in a room full of people who love you, it would soften the blow, that you'd see Claire and see how much she needed a family, how much she wanted to know about Mom. And when I said I was coming, you begged me not to, because Claire wasn't ready. She wanted more time. She was scared of meeting you. I looked at Claire. She was sitting on the couch again, next to Linda. She looked exhausted. Why were you scared of me? Claire's voice was small. Because Mom's letters made you sound hard, unforgiving. She wrote about how strong you were, how reliable, how dedicated, but she also wrote about how you saw things in black and white, right and wrong, no gray areas. She wiped her eyes. And I'm the grayest area there is. I'm the product of an affair. The secret that destroyed her. I thought you'd look at me and only see her mistake. Her words sat in the room like stones. Is that what you think you are? I asked. A mistake? Aren't I? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally. You're not a mistake. You're a person. A person who didn't ask to be born into a complicated situation. A person who deserves better than being called a mistake. Claire started crying. Linda pulled her close, and I felt something crack inside my chest. I stood up and walked to the window again. My reflection stared back at me. 57 years old. Gray hair, lines around my eyes, hands scarred from 32 years of carpentry. I looked old. I looked tired. There's something else, isn't there? I said, still facing the window. Something you're not telling me. The room went quiet. Dad, Brianna started. Just tell me. Whatever it is, I can handle it. I heard papers rustling behind me. Then Tyler's voice. Quiet. Careful. The accident. Mom's accident. It wasn't just an accident. I turned around. What do you mean? Tyler was holding another letter. This one looked different. Newer. The paper was white instead of yellowed. This was in the box too. It's dated November 10th, 2018, 5 days before she died. He handed it to me. I read it. Dear Claire, you're 18 now. An adult. And Linda and David have probably told you the truth about me by now. About who I am. About why I gave you up. I need you to know something. I'm tired. I've been carrying this secret for 18 years. 18 years of lying to Robert. 18 years of missing you. 18 years of wondering if I made the right choice. And I don't think I can do it anymore. I'm not saying I'm going to do something drastic. I'm not. But I'm saying that the weight of this, it's becoming unbearable. Robert and I have been growing apart for years. He works. I work. We sleep in the same bed, but we don't really talk anymore. Not about anything that matters. And I keep thinking, what if I had chosen differently? What if I had told him the truth in 2000? What if I had kept you? Would my life have been better? Worse? Different? I don't know. All I know is that I'm tired of wondering. The letter ended there. I read it twice. What are you saying? I asked Tyler. That Catherine killed herself? No. Not exactly. But Dad, the police report said she lost control on a patch of black ice. But it was 6 p.m. On a clear night. The roads were dry. There was no ice. Then what happened? We don't know. But her co-workers at the school said she'd been acting strange that week. Distracted. Emotional. One of them said she'd been crying in the library. On Friday afternoon, Brianna pulled out another document, a police report. The investigating officer noted that there were no skid marks, no evidence that she tried to brake or swerve. She just drifted into the barrier at 70 miles an hour. I felt my knees go weak. You think she did it on purpose? We don't know, Brianna said. We'll never know. But Dad, we think the secret was killing her. And maybe that night, she just couldn't carry it anymore. I sat down. My hands were shaking. Catherine wouldn't do that. She wouldn't leave Tyler and Brianna. She wouldn't leave me. Wouldn't she? Tyler's voice was gentle. Dad, you just said it yourself. You're not a forgiving man. And she knew that. She knew that if the truth ever came out, you'd leave. So she killed herself instead? Maybe she just let go. Maybe she was driving home, thinking about the secret, thinking about Claire, thinking about 18 years of lies. And she just stopped trying so hard to hold it all together. I buried my face in my hands. 35 years of marriage, 35 years of thinking I knew my wife. And all of it, every memory, every conversation, every moment, was now tainted by this. I should have noticed, I said. You were working, Dad, Brianna said. You were always working. Because I thought that's what she wanted. I thought providing was enough. It wasn't. The words hung in the air. Simple, true, devastating. No, I said quietly. I guess it wasn't. Nobody spoke for a long time. The turkey was getting cold on the dining table. The mashed potatoes were congealing. The gravy had formed a skin on top. Thanksgiving dinner. Ruined. Just like everything else. I looked around the room at the faces staring back at me. Tyler, Brianna, Rachel, my sister Linda from Milwaukee, my father in his wheelchair, Derek, Brianna's boyfriend, standing awkwardly by the kitchen, and Claire, Linda Morrison, David Morrison, strangers who weren't strangers, family who weren't family. I need to ask you something, I said to Claire. She looked up. Her eyes were red from crying. Okay, why did you agree to this? To coming here tonight? To meeting me? Claire glanced at Linda Morrison, her mother, the woman who raised her, before answering. Because I wanted to know where I came from. Linda and David are my parents. They raised me. They love me. But there was always this piece missing. This question I couldn't answer. And you thought meeting me would answer it? I thought it might help. Catherine's gone. I'll never get to meet her. Never get to ask her why she made the choices she made. But you were part of her life. You knew her in ways I never will. She wiped her eyes. I guess I wanted to understand her better, and maybe understand myself better too. I nodded slowly. What do you want from me? The question came out harsher than I intended. Claire flinched. I don't want anything from you, Mr. Crawford. I'm not asking for money or a relationship or even acknowledgement. I just wanted to meet you. Once, to see the man Catherine wrote about in her letters. And now that you've met me, what do you think? Claire looked at me for a long moment. I think she was right. You are hard and unforgiving, and you do see things in black and white. She paused. But I also think you're hurting. And I think maybe you've been hurting for a long time, and you just didn't know how to say it. My father cleared his throat. Robert, can I say something? I looked at him. 83 years old. Stroke survivor. Vietnam veteran. The toughest man I'd ever known. Yeah, Dad. He wheeled himself closer. I knew. The room went dead silent. What? I knew about Catherine's affair. About Claire. About all of it. I felt the air leave my lungs. How? Catherine told me. In 2016. 3 years before she died. She came to visit me at the veterans' home, and she broke down. Said she couldn't carry the secret anymore. Said she needed to tell someone, or she'd go crazy. And you didn't tell me? No. Why not? My father looked at me with those sharp gray eyes that had seen combat in Vietnam, seen poverty in the 70s, seen his own wife, my mother, die of cancer in '98. Because it wasn't my secret to tell, and because I knew you, Robert. I knew exactly what you'd do if you found out. You'd leave. You'd destroy the family. You'd make everyone choose sides. That's not fair. Yes, it is. His voice was firm. Son, I love you. But you're just like I was at your age. Rigid. Proud. Unable to accept that people make mistakes. An affair isn't a mistake, Dad. It's a choice. You're right. It is a choice. And it was the wrong choice. But Catherine made it. And then she spent 18 years trying to make it right. She stayed. She raised your kids. She supported you. She loved you, even when you made it damn hard to love you. What's that supposed to mean? It means you worked yourself to death and called it providing. It means you came home exhausted every night and thought sitting in front of the TV was family time. It means Catherine was lonely, and instead of noticing, you just worked more hours. The words stung because they were true. I worked to give them a good life. I know you did. And you succeeded. Tyler went to college. Brianna went to college. You paid off the house. You built a good life." He paused. "But a good life isn't the same as a happy life. And Catherine was lonely. So, she made a mistake. A big one. And she paid for it every day for 18 years. She lied to me. Yes, she did. And that was wrong. But Robert, what would you have done if she told you the truth in 2000? I didn't answer. Because we both knew. Exactly, my father said quietly. You would have left. And Tyler would have grown up without a father. And Brianna would have grown up without a father. And Catherine would have spent the rest of her life raising 2 kids alone while you nursed your wounded pride. So I'm the villain here? Is that what you're saying? No. I'm saying there are no villains. Just people making hard choices in impossible situations. Brianna stood up. Dad, can I say something? Go ahead. She took a deep breath. I've been in therapy for 3 years, since right after Mom died. And one of the things my therapist keeps asking me is, what do you wish you could tell your father that you've never been able to say? Okay. I wish you had been there more. Not physically. You were always physically there. But emotionally. I wish you had asked me about my day. About my friends. About what I was feeling. Her voice started to shake. I wish you had hugged me more. Told me you loved me more. Showed up to my dance recitals. Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. I came to your recitals. You sat in the back row and checked your phone the whole time. I saw you, Dad. Every time. You were there, but you weren't present. I felt something twist in my chest. I'm sorry. I know you are. And I know you did the best you could. But Dad, Mom was lonely. And I was lonely. And Tyler was lonely. And we all just accepted it, because we thought that's what family was supposed to be. She wiped her eyes. But it's not. Family is supposed to be more than just living in the same house and eating dinner together. It's supposed to be connection, understanding, being there for each other in ways that matter. I worked 60 hours a week. I know, Dad. I know. And we appreciate it. We really do. But we didn't need more money. We needed more you. Tyler stepped forward. Dad, I need to tell you something too. What? I almost didn't invite you to my wedding. The words hit me like a punch. What? In 2015, when Rachel and I got engaged, we talked about whether to invite you. Why wouldn't you invite your own father to your wedding? Because I wasn't sure you'd care. I wasn't sure it would matter to you beyond checking a box on your calendar. Tyler, that's ridiculous. Of course I cared. I paid for half the wedding. Exactly. You paid for it. You wrote a check. But Dad, do you remember anything about the wedding? Do you remember the vows Rachel and I wrote? Do you remember the song we danced to? Do you remember the toast I gave? I tried to remember. I remembered the venue. A hotel in downtown Chicago. I remembered writing a check for $12,000. I remembered wearing my good suit. But the details? Nothing. I remember it was nice, I said weakly. It was more than nice, Dad. It was the most important day of my life. And you were there. But you weren't there. You spent half the reception talking to your construction buddies about work. You left before the cake was cut because you had an early job the next morning. I had to work. It was a Saturday, Dad. You chose to take a Saturday job the day after my wedding. The room was silent. I'm sorry, I said. I know you are. But sorry doesn't change the past. And it doesn't change the fact that Mom felt the same way I did. Like she was living with someone who was physically present, but emotionally gone. I looked around the room, at the faces of my family. My broken, hurting, complicated family. So what happens now? I asked. Brianna sat down next to me. That's up to you. Dad, what do you mean? I mean, you can do what Mom was afraid you'd do. You can walk out of here angry. You can decide that this is unforgivable. You can cut us off for keeping this from you. You can refuse to acknowledge Claire. You can go home and spend the rest of your life nursing your hurt and your pride. She paused. Or you can stay. You can listen. You can try to understand. You can meet Claire. Really meet her. Not as mom's mistake, but as a person who deserves to be known. And if I can't do that, then you'll prove mom right. You'll prove that you are exactly who she thought you were. Hard, unforgiving, unable to see the gray. I looked at Claire. She was watching me with those hazel green eyes, Catherine's eyes. What do you want? I asked her. I want to tell you about myself, she said quietly. I want to tell you about growing up in Milwaukee with Linda and David. I want to tell you about my job as a kindergarten teacher. I want to tell you about my favorite books and the places I've traveled, and the things that make me laugh. Why? Because Catherine wrote about you in her letters. She told me about the man you were when you were young, before the work consumed you, before the distance crept in. She told me about how you used to bring her wildflowers from construction sites, how you built her a bookshelf for her birthday one year and carved her initials into the side, how you cried when Tyler was born because you couldn't believe something so perfect could be real. I had forgotten about those things. All of them. She wrote about that? She wrote about a lot of things. And in every letter, even when she was talking about the distance between you, she always said the same thing at the end. What? That she loved you. That she wished things were different. But that she loved you. Brianna stood up. The food is getting cold, and I don't know about everyone else, but I'm starving. She looked at me. Dad, we can keep standing here processing all of this, or we can sit down and have Thanksgiving dinner. As a family. All of us. She gestured to the table. 23 place settings. 23 chairs. 23 people waiting to see what I would do. All of us? I asked. Yes, you, me, Tyler, Rachel, Aunt Linda, Grandpa, Derek, and Claire, and Linda and David Morrison. They're not family. They are now. I looked at the table, at the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the green bean casserole, the rolls. Normal Thanksgiving food, for a very unnormal Thanksgiving. I don't know if I can do this, I said. You don't have to know, Brianna said. You just have to try. I walked to the table. Slowly. Every step felt heavy. I pulled out a chair, the one at the head of the table. The seat I'd sat in for 35 years at every Thanksgiving dinner Catherine and I had hosted. But this wasn't my table. This was Brianna's table. Brianna's dinner. I moved to a different chair, one in the middle, between Tyler and my father. Is this okay? I asked Brianna. She smiled. Yeah, Dad, that's perfect. Everyone sat down. Claire sat across from me. Linda and David on either side of her. Brianna stood at the head of the table. Before we eat, I want to say something. Everyone looked at her. This has been the hardest Thanksgiving of my life. And I know it's been hard for all of you too. But we're here. All of us. Together. And that matters. She looked at me. Dad, I know this isn't what you expected, and I know you're hurting. But thank you for staying. Thank you for trying. I nodded. I couldn't speak. And Claire, Brianna continued. Thank you for being brave enough to come. Thank you for wanting to know us. For wanting to be part of this complicated, messy family. Claire smiled through tears. Okay, Brianna said. Let's eat. The first 10 minutes of dinner were awkward. People passed dishes in silence. Forks scraped against plates. Someone coughed. Derek asked if anyone wanted more wine, and 3 people said yes at the same time. Normal Thanksgiving sounds, but nothing about this was normal. I put mashed potatoes on my plate, green beans, a slice of turkey. I wasn't hungry, but I ate anyway, because that's what you do. You sit at the table. You eat the food. You participate, even when your whole world has been turned upside down. Claire was watching me. I could feel it. Every time I looked up, she'd quickly look away. But I could see her in my peripheral vision, studying me, trying to figure out who I was, trying to see if there was anything of Catherine in me. So, Claire, my sister Linda said, breaking the silence. Brianna told me you're a kindergarten teacher? Claire nodded. Yes, ma'am. At Riverside Elementary, in Milwaukee. How long have you been teaching? 2 years. I graduated from University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in 2021. Do you like it? Claire's face lit up. I love it. Kids that age are so honest. You know? They haven't learned to hide what they're feeling yet. If they're happy, they show it. If they're sad, they show it. There's something beautiful about that. Catherine used to say the same thing, almost word for word. What made you want to become a teacher? Rachel asked. My mom, Linda. She used to volunteer at my elementary school when I was little. I'd watch her read to the kids and help them with their math, and I just remember thinking, I want to do that when I grow up. She smiled at Linda Morrison. And Catherine, my birth mother, she was a librarian. So I guess teaching was in my blood either way. The table went quiet again. Nobody knew how to respond to that. What else do you like to do? Tyler asked, trying to keep the conversation going. I read a lot. Mostly fantasy. Brandon Sanderson. Patrick Rothfuss. I like stories about ordinary people who discover they're capable of extraordinary things. Mom loved fantasy too, Brianna said softly. She used to read me The Hobbit when I was little. Every night for like 3 months straight. Claire's eyes widened. Really? Yeah, she did all the voices. Gollum was her favorite. Claire laughed. A small sound, but genuine. Linda used to do the same thing. She'd read to me every night. Harry Potter. Chronicles of Narnia. All of it. Sounds like you had a good childhood, I said. It was the first thing I'd said since we sat down. Claire looked at me. I did. Linda and David gave me everything. Love. Support. Stability. I couldn't have asked for better parents. But you still wanted to find Catherine. Yes. Why? Claire thought about it. Because knowing you're adopted is one thing. But knowing your birth mother wanted to stay connected, wanted to know about your life, wanted to write you letters every year, that's different. That's not abandonment. That's sacrifice. She paused. Catherine gave me up so I could have a better life. And she carried that pain for 18 years so Tyler and Brianna could have a stable home. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to honor. Dessert came out. Pumpkin pie. Apple pie. Whipped cream. My father told a story about Thanksgiving in Vietnam in 1968. How his unit had tried to cook a turkey using a flamethrower and nearly burned down their camp. People laughed. It felt good to laugh. Tyler talked about his job as an accountant. How he was up for partner at his firm. How Rachel had just gotten promoted to regional manager at her company. Brianna talked about her job as a social worker. How hard it was. How rewarding it was. How every day she saw families struggling with secrets and lies and pain. Kind of like us, she said with a sad smile. Claire talked about her students. About a little boy named Marcus who couldn't read at the beginning of the year, but was now reading at grade level. About a girl named Sophie who drew pictures for Claire every single day. She reminds me of myself at that age, Claire said. Always drawing, always creating. Linda's house is covered in my childhood artwork. Catherine did the same thing, I said quietly. Everyone looked at me. When Tyler and Brianna were little, she'd hang every drawing they made on the refrigerator. Every single one. By the end of the week, you couldn't even see the fridge anymore. Just layers and layers of crayon and construction paper. Brianna smiled. I forgot about that. She kept them all too, I continued. In boxes, in the basement. Hundreds of drawings. Thousands, maybe. She couldn't bring herself to throw any of them away. She kept mine too, Claire said softly. Linda sent her photos of my artwork when I was little. Catherine would print them out and keep them in a scrapbook. Linda showed it to me a few months ago. Did she? I asked. Yeah. It had photos of me from birth to age 18. Birthday parties. School photos. Dance recitals. Soccer games. She followed my whole life from a distance. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded. The plates were cleared. People were starting to relax. The wine was flowing. The conversation was getting easier, but I still felt like I was carrying something heavy. I need to say something, I announced. The table went quiet. I've been sitting here listening to all of you talk. About Catherine. About the past. About mistakes and forgiveness and family. And I keep thinking about something my father said earlier. I looked at him. You said there are no villains. Just people making hard choices in impossible situations. He nodded. I think you're wrong. Everyone tensed. I think there is a villain in this story, and it's me. Dad, Brianna started. No, let me finish. Catherine made a mistake. A big one. She had an affair. She got pregnant. She lied. All of that is true. I paused, but I created the conditions for that mistake. I was so focused on providing, on working, on being the strong, dependable man that I thought I was supposed to be, that I forgot to be a husband. I forgot to be a father. I forgot to be present. Tyler opened his mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. Catherine was lonely. You all said it. And instead of noticing, instead of changing, instead of asking her what she needed, I just worked more. I told myself I was doing it for the family. For you, but really, I was doing it because work was easier than vulnerability. Work was easier than admitting I didn't know how to connect. Work was easier than trying. I looked at Claire, and because of that, Catherine felt so alone that she turned to someone else. And then she felt so guilty and so trapped that she spent 18 years carrying a secret that probably killed her. My voice broke. So yeah, there's a villain in this story, and it's me. The room was completely silent. Then my father spoke. Son, you're not a villain. You're just human. We all are. That's not good enough. It has to be. Because it's all we've got. Claire set down her fork. Can I ask you something, Mr. Crawford? You can call me Robert. Okay. Robert. Can I ask you something? Yeah. Do you regret coming here tonight? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yes and no. What does that mean? It means I regret not listening to Brianna when she begged me to stay home. I regret walking into this dinner and forcing everyone to have this conversation before they were ready. I regret making this harder than it already was. I paused, but I don't regret knowing the truth. As painful as it is, as much as it hurts, I needed to know. And if I hadn't come tonight, I might never have known. Would that have been better? I don't know. Maybe. Ignorance is easier than truth. But easier isn't always better. Claire nodded slowly. Can I ask you something else? Sure. Do you hate me? The question hit me like a hammer. What? No. God, no. Claire, I don't hate you. Are you sure? Because I'm the physical proof of Catherine's affair. Every time you look at me, you're reminded of what she did, of the secret she kept, of the lie she lived. That's true, but that's not your fault. You didn't ask for any of this. Neither did you. No. But here we are. Claire's eyes filled with tears again. I know this is hard for you. I know meeting me is probably the last thing you wanted. But I need you to know something. What? Catherine loved you. Really loved you. Every letter she wrote to me, she talked about you. About how strong you were. How dependable. How you built a life for your family brick by brick. She admired you. Even when she felt distant from you. She admired you. I felt my throat tighten. She had a funny way of showing it. Maybe. But people are complicated. You can love someone and still feel lonely. You can admire someone and still need something they can't give you. That's not a contradiction. That's just being human. Linda Morrison reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph. She handed it to me. It showed Catherine in the hospital. December of 2000. Holding baby Claire. Catherine looked exhausted. Emotional. But there was something else in her eyes. Love. Pure, uncomplicated love. I took this 3 hours after Claire was born, Linda said. I stared at the photograph. Can I keep this? Of course. I slipped it into my wallet. Right next to the photograph I'd carried for years. Catherine and me on our wedding day, June of 1988. Both of us young and hopeful, and completely unaware of what the next 30 years would bring. "Thank you," I said to Linda. "You're welcome." I looked at Claire. "Can I ask you something now?" "Sure. What do you want from me? And I don't mean right now. I mean long term. Do you want a relationship? Do you want me to be some kind of father figure? Do you want family dinners and birthday cards and phone calls?" Claire thought about it. "I don't know. I don't think I'm asking for you to be my dad. Linda and David are my parents. They raised me. They're the ones who sat up with me when I was sick, who helped me with homework, who taught me to drive. Okay, but maybe we could get to know each other. As people. Not as father and daughter, but as two people who both loved Catherine in different ways, who both miss her, who both wish things had been different. I think I can do that." "Really?" "Yeah. It won't be easy, and I can't promise I won't mess it up. But I can try." Claire smiled. "That's all I'm asking." It was almost 10 p.m. when people started leaving. Rachel and Tyler first. They had a long drive back to their place in the suburbs. Tyler hugged me on his way out. "Thanks for staying, Dad. Thanks for inviting me. Even though I wasn't supposed to come." He laughed. "Yeah. That backfired. I'm sorry for not being there more when you were growing up." "I know, Dad. We'll talk about it. We've got time." My sister Linda left next. Then, my father. Derek helped get the wheelchair down the stairs while Brianna supervised. Linda and David Morrison were the last to go. "Robert," Linda said, extending her hand. "Thank you for being open to this. I know it wasn't easy." I shook her hand. "Thank you for raising her, for giving her a good life. Catherine chose well." David nodded. "If you ever want to talk about Catherine, about any of this, you have my number." "I appreciate that." Claire stood in the doorway, putting on her coat. "Claire," I said. She turned. "I know this is going to sound strange, but would you want to get coffee sometime? Just the two of us. Talk about Catherine. About your life. About whatever." Her face lit up. "Really?" "Yeah. If you're comfortable with it, I'd like that, a lot." "Okay. I'll have Brianna give you my number." "Okay." She hesitated, then stepped forward and hugged me. It was brief, awkward, but genuine. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For trying." And then, she was gone. Brianna and I cleaned up in silence. Washing dishes, putting away leftovers, wiping down the table. "You okay, Dad?" she asked. "I don't know. Ask me in a few days." "Fair enough." We worked for a few more minutes. "Brianna?" "Yeah?" "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you when you asked me not to come." "I know. And I'm sorry for all the times I wasn't there. Really there. When you were growing up." She set down the dish she was holding and turned to look at me. "Dad, you don't have to apologize for the past. We can't change it, but we can change the future." "How?" "By doing better. By being present. By actually listening when people tell you things." I nodded. "I can do that." "Good." She hugged me, and for the first time in years, I hugged her back. Really hugged her. Not the quick, obligatory hug I usually gave, but a real one. The kind that says I love you without having to say the words. "I love you, sweetheart," I said anyway. "I love you too, Dad." I drove home around 11 p.m. The streets were quiet. Most of Chicago was asleep, digesting turkey and pie and family drama. I pulled into my driveway in Bridgeport. The same house where Catherine and I had raised our children. The same house where we'd hosted 35 years of Thanksgiving dinners. The same house that felt too big and too empty now. I sat in my truck for a moment before going inside, thinking about the night, about Catherine, about Claire, about all the things I'd learned, all the things I'd lost by not paying attention. My phone buzzed. A text from Brianna. "Thank you for staying, Dad." Mom would have been proud. I wasn't so sure about that, but I wanted to believe it. I got out of the truck and walked to the front door. And for the first time in 5 years, I didn't feel angry that Catherine was gone. I just felt sad. Sad that we'd wasted so much time. Sad that she'd carried such a heavy secret alone. sad that I'd been too blind to see what was right in front of me. But sadness is better than anger. Sadness can heal. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house was dark, quiet, empty. But tomorrow, I'd call Claire. We'd get coffee. We'd talk. And maybe, slowly, I'd start to understand the woman I thought I knew, but never really did. Catherine, my wife, the mother of my children, and the mother of a daughter I never knew existed. Quiet people aren't weak. We're just choosing our battles carefully. But sometimes, we choose wrong. Sometimes, we work when we should be present. We provide when we should be connecting. We stay silent when we should be listening. And by the time we realize our mistake, the people we love have already found other ways to fill the emptiness we left behind. My daughter begged me to skip Thanksgiving dinner. I went anyway, and I regretted it. But not for the reason you think. I regretted it because it took a room full of strangers and a secret kept for 18 years to make me realize what I'd lost. And by then, it was too late to get it back. But maybe, just maybe, it's not too late to build something new. If you've ever ignored a warning you should have listened to, if you've ever learned a truth that changed everything, or if you've ever realized, too late, that the people you love needed more than you gave them, then you understand. And if this story resonated with you, let me know where you're watching from in the comments below.